Welcome to Real Talk, Real Wellness with Alicia. I'm Alicia, a woman's holistic wellness practitioner, and this is where we get real about what it takes to live well, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Today, I want to flip a popular saying completely on its head. We've all heard no pain, no gain. It's been drilled into us in the gym, in the work, in the life, that we have to struggle, push, sacrifice to see results. But here's the thing. I don't hear nearly enough people asking, what if pleasure is the gain? What if the thing you've been missing in your wellness journey isn't more discipline, more grind, more deprivation, but more joy, more softness, more things that feel good? That's where we're going today. Okay, so let's start by looking at where this no pain, no gain idea came from. Well, it's sort of heavily rooted in the fitness industry, actually. Think bodybuilders in the 70s and the 80s pushing their bodies to the max, sweating through grueling sessions and glorifying burn. I mean, it was catchy, it sounded tough, and it got repeated so much that it became a truth. But it also became sort of bigger than the gym. This mindset comes from a culture that prizes productivity, endurance above well-being. Capitalism thrives when you believe you must earn everything through struggle. Patriarchy too has fed women the idea that suffering is noble, even beautiful. We're told to sort of power through pain, to keep going, even when our bodies are screaming for rest. And sometimes that's needed. Sometimes it is needed. Growth takes place there, yes. But here's the danger. When we make pain the only path to gain, we ignore the body's other language, pleasure. And that, my dears, is a huge loss. Pleasure is not just a nice to have. Your nervous system thrives on it. When you're in pleasure, whether it's through movement, delicious foods, connecting with people, or even creative flow, your parasympathetic nervous system lights up like a bulb, and that is your rest, digest, and heal mode, if you like. In this state, your stress hormones drop, digestion improves, your immune system gets a boost, and your body literally starts to repair itself. This is not just energy work or woo-woo, as some would say. This is measurable science. Studies have shown that pleasure increases dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all chemicals linked to motivation, mood regulation, and connection, bonding. But here's the twist. Many of us women are so used to associating effort with discomfort that we feel guilty when something feels easy or enjoyable. We almost don't trust pleasure anymore. And that's where the reframe comes in. What if pleasure isn't a side dish What if it's the main course of a sustainable, holistic wellness plan? I've I've seen it so many times, women pushing their bodies in the name of health, overtraining to the point of adrenal fatigue. I was guilty of that. Cutting out entire food groups to chase a number on the scale. I was guilty of that. Pushing through exhaustion until burnout hits hard. I was guilty of that. The no pain, no gain mindset, excuse me, the no pain, no gain mindset can push you right into imbalancement and injury and emotional disconnection from your own body. And sometimes that the attachment to pain comes from trauma. If we've learned that suffering equals worthiness, or that rest is lazy, then it feels unsafe to let go and receive. But when you heal that, when you start letting your body experience joy without guilt, that's when real deep wellness becomes possible. So, how do we actually bring pleasure into wellness in a way that still supports our health goals? Well, let's look at movements. Let's look at exercise. I have a client who was adamant she was not going to do any exercise at all. Nothing. Not even extended periods of walking. She just, no, it just wasn't something. She was 100% sure she wasn't going to do anything that had her have to do anything outside of her home, and that's fine. So I said, well, how about we get some dumbbells and we do some work with the dumbbells? She said, no, okay, I can do that once or twice a week. Okay. But okay, so what do you want to do? And she sat there and she thought for a minute and she said, you know what, I've always wanted to try belly dancing, but that's not really working out, is it? I said, oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is a workout. So we incorporated belly dancing into her movement program. And she loves it. Absolutely loves it. That's her pleasure. Yes, your workouts should be a little bit challenging. Challenge is good, but not every session has to break you. That's what I'm saying. And there needs to be, like I said, you have to feel good about what it is that you're doing. Let's look at food. I also had a client who was big on a certain egg McMuffin from a very well-known fast food takeaway. And I said, well, why don't you try and make your own healthier alternatives? Why don't you try and gather nutrient-dense products to make your egg McMuffin? Okay, egg, for starters, is a big one, but let's look at what you can put into the muffin part to make it healthier. So she researched a few dishes that she liked that weren't quote unquote considered healthy. She loves chips. Now she dehydrates vegetables and puts a little sea salt on them, and she loves that. It's about making healthy alternatives to what you already love. Okay, or just exploring recipes that are both sort of nourishing and deeply satisfying. It's about doing research and trying and testing. Let's look at rest. Now, this is a big one because I know I work with women a lot, not just in my private, but in my private work, but also in the coaching that I offer in an organization. The rest seems to be a big one for women. They seem to think that resting is some kind of is associated to being lazy, taking a day out and just chilling. Rest, relaxation is not something that you should do too often. I beg to differ. I think rest is very important. And I do believe in taking, if you can, taking a day out and just really relaxing and chilling and just not having a plan. Or the plan is rest and recuperation. Health, rest is not a reward for overwork. It's a tool for balance. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, and then we've got connection, spending time with people who make you belly laugh. It's so important to be around people who make you feel good. We can't always do it, but if we're going to do it, make it conscious. Consciously make an effort to be around those people who make you feel good, who make you laugh, who hug you, people you can go out and dance with, people you can share a meal with. Human connection is deeply pleasurable and is a vital for health and wellness. And then you've got self-expression. Wear colors that make you feel alive. Sing, paint, write, move creatively. Just be in your creative flow. Enjoy that space. It sounds weird to some, but I just love creating content. Not necessarily this type of content, but I love writing. I love writing my wellness resources. It brings me joy. So I have to catch myself sometimes because I can be at it for hours. So I have to be disciplined and cut myself off from it. It's so pleasurable. Just really indulging myself in my work. I love it so much. So yes, be in that creative flow. If whatever disconnects you from the outer world and you can be focused and it feels good to you, do that. Sing, as I said, dance, write, move, whatever. It's your choice. And also, a good point is that pleasure creates a positive feedback loop. The more your wellness choices feel good, the more you want to keep doing them. And that's consistency without force. Okay, so when I'm working on a resource or content, I'm doing it without force. It's because it's pleasurable. Let's talk about some of the indigenous healing systems. You've got traditional Chinese medicine to Ayurveda. Pleasure is not indulgence in those systems. It's medicine. In the feminine energy is very cyclical. And I spoke about that in excuse me, spoke about that in my last episode. It's receptive, feminine energy. It's intuitive. Our bodies are not designed to run in constant go mode. When we live in alignment with our cycles and seasons, we naturally include times of rest, softness, and enjoyment. When we are in alignment with our cycles, we will naturally fall into the desire of having that time of rest, of softness, of enjoyment, of pleasure. And the more you allow pleasure, the more capacity you have for growth and challenge and even discipline when it's needed, because you're not running on empty, you're fueled. So if you don't give yourself moments of pleasure and considerable moments of pleasure, it's really hard to deal with the challenging stuff. It's balance, it's yin and yang. Okay, so let's wrap up. So maybe the question isn't how much pain can I endure to gain, but how much pleasure am I willing to receive to grow? So no more, no pain, no gain. It's more, how much pleasure am I willing to receive to grow? So let me offer you some journal prompts. I'm going to try and do this with every episode. All right. So where have I been conditioned to suffer in order to feel worthy? So where have I been conditioned to suffer in order to feel worthy? Also, what brings me joy, and how can I invite more of that into my wellness routine? So write those down and answer them and share with me if you want to in the comments. That would be really good. Good to read and see. And just remember, your body's not a battleground. It's a home. And homes are meant to be lived in with comfort, warmth, and joy. You have been listening to Real Talk, Real Wellness with Alicia. If this episode sparks something for you, share it with a friend who might need to reframe this. You can also connect with me on Instagram or through my website. Links are in the show notes. Until next time, stay soft, stay strong, and remember, sometimes the gain is in the glow.